So what happens when we get all of these items in let's say 10 seconds? So one of the best things you can do in a video game is if a player does something and achieves something, and this is one of the reasons I love games, by the way, is that games focus on achievement and and talent. And one thing you can do is what happens if you get the purple, the blue, the green, the orange, yellow, and the purple all within that 10 seconds? You should get a bonus here. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we make sure that we go and do that here? Well, it gets kind of complicated, and we have to add in a ton of variables. Now, there's two places we can add in these variables here. We can add in variables to each of these individual items here. And the way we do that is add in these instance variables. Now, I don't like using instance variables as much as global variables. For whatever reason, if I need to access a variable at the global level, I might as well do it, right? But in this case, we're going to go, and since I haven't talked about instance variables, I am going to talk about them now. So what we'll do is we'll add in an instance variable here, and we'll say this is we're going to say that is collected. Okay, I'm going to copy that. Now we can technically make it a Boolean, but I like using the numbers in construct 2. The Boolean logic's a little bit weird. So I'm going to do is collected, and I'm just going to do that for all of these here. And is collected, and then we're going to go to variables is collected, and then is collected, and is collected. So there we go. Now that we have that there, let's hop up all the way to the top here. And when we go and we drag the blue blocks into the collision, we're going to go to our goal blocks, and we're going to go to the blue box, and we're going to say set value is collected to 1. Okay, and I'm going to copy all of that and paste it in each single one of these here. And by the way, even though this project works this way, and doesn't mean that your project might not be set up this way. What I'm about to say is that you can see how everything that I'm doing is color coded, and color coding, especially when you're making the first app and whatnot, is actually a really good idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the object, and we're just going to replace it to green block. Now you can only do it this way if the name of that instance variable, the one that we just set up, is the same. If it's different, you won't be able to replace the object like this, right? And then that's why I copied and pasted it in there. Right, and there we go. So what that means is that we set is collected to 1 here. Now I'm going to go, and I'm actually going to push the control button here, and I'm going to copy all of this. Okay, copy, and then I'm going to simply go into here and paste it. And instead of 1, I'm going to make it 0. So what happens here is that this will reset the entire game, right? And once this resets the entire game, we need to reset all these variables too. Now you're probably thinking, well, oh, this is so much work. But when it comes to resetting your game and pausing your game, there's actually quite a bit of work involved, especially in the mobile space. In fact, a fun little fact about the early days of mobile and the iPhone development, a lot of times you would never destroy an object because it would take up too much CPU power. So what you would do instead is you just move it off screen. So that's important here. Okay, so now that we have all of this here, we need to set one other piece of logic up. So we're going to say if, and then we're going to say blue block compare instance variable is collected is equal to 1, and we're going to copy and paste this 6 times. And I'm going to replace the object here. So what we're comparing is we're comparing all of these blocks here, and we're comparing the instance variables to see if you've collected. Because remember, when you drag the box, the little box into, so if you drag this little box into here, it will set goal collected to be 1 here. So replace object, and then we go to purple, and then one more here will go to simply yellow. Okay, now of course we need an action here, and for now let's just do score. We'll do or yeah. Well, what we can do is we could add to score, and we'll add 10. So it's a pretty significant advantage. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. 3, and then this should be it. All right, and for some reason it didn't quite work here. But we'll take a look at that. And so if all of these are indeed equal to 1, then it should add 10 to, of course, not the cycle number. We need the score. So it almost worked. So let's try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and bam. Okay, look at that. Another problem here. So let's just take a quick look at that. So if is collected is equal to 1, then we add 10 to score. What we then have to do is simply add and set that back. Because what happens here is that when all of these are equal to 1, then it's going to just constantly add 10 to score. All right, so let's do that again, and let's see if that works here. And then this should be it. Yeah, indeed it did work. And so now everything is reset and you can do it again and again and again, which is really cool. Now, again, if we take a look at this, if I just reset this, you have a maximum of getting 6 points if you just do whatever you want. But you get a ton of bonus if you do them, if you get all the different colors before the time runs out. That's a pretty neat mechanic. That concludes the tutorial.